About 8 years ago, Teresa got in a horrible car accident.
She was driving home from our house and she rolled her car off the freeway.
When Teresa left our house, she had a bottle of vodka. What I suspect is Teresa drank some of that vodka and maybe took some Oxycontin on the way home as well.
When the paramedics got there, she was pinned under the car. They weren't sure she was gonna make it.
While she was in ICU, she had a stroke. She had pins put in her pelvis, her bladder exploded.
They had her in a medically induced coma for a week. Teresa came home after 3 months.
It was very difficult on Beth. She had to take care of her, wash her, feed her.
I became her primary nurse and caretaker for a year. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. This was definitely above my pay grade.
Beth would monitor the pain pills, but Teresa was pretty good at manipulating Beth and getting what she wanted.
She got to the point where I gave her a little one more here, one more there. Kind of just gave her what she wanted. I gave up because it just got to be too much. I let her deal with it herself. My stepdaughter, Teresa, is a heroin addict for the last 10 years.
Heroin keeps you well, meth keeps you awake.
Around 22 years old, Teresa was started to experiment with Oxycontin, and she was arrested for domestic violence. Up until that point, there were no red flags. Teresa was on her way to my house. I got a call that her car was impounded. There was booze in the car. It was obvious that Teresa was losing control of being able to drive a car without having booze and being high.
After the police released Teresa, we brought her home.
It was turmoil, insanity.
The next night, I walked into her room and she had a needle in her arm. Barry ran in. Teresa was begging, "Daddy, please don't flush it. I need it. I will die without it."
I guess they call it.
We didn't know enough about heroin to know that she wouldn't die, so we didn't flush it. The next night, I went through her bedroom and I found a metal container. It had needles, the heroin, it had meth, it had Vicodin, Xanax. The last time we saw Teresa was about 3 years ago. She had gotten kicked out of the sober living and went back to living on the streets. I really have not been involved until 2 months ago when she called and told me she was pregnant. I was shocked.
A heroin addict with a baby. It's been heartbreaking.
She sent me a picture of the ultrasound and it said, "My girl," and it had little hearts on it. Teresa doesn't understand the magnitude of what's going on. The heroin is just taking over.
And if you don't have meth, you can't stay awake.
I'm concerned the child may be taken away. That's a better option than being raised by a heroin addict.
She is in no shape to be a mom, so I don't know what to do. We're really desperate for Dr. Phil's help before this innocent child is brought into the mix.
When did y'all find out she was
We
pregnant?
found out 45 days ago.
45 days ago.
Yep. We let her know that we weren't going to give her any more money. We were talking about our retirement, and we were at the point where, okay, we can't afford to give this girl money anymore. And then when we said, "No more money, Trace," that's when she said, "I need to talk to you." And that's when she told us she was pregnant.
She did this as emotional extortion, right? Okay, I got
yes.
a baby on the way now,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
you want to be hard with me.
Right.
You're mistreating this child.
Right, you need to help me.
So this was manipulation. And you're both were shocked that she was pregnant because you didn't think she could get pregnant after the wreck, right?
Right, her pelvis exploded basically, and her
Right.
bladder exploded, and so I just thought she couldn't get pregnant.
Okay, and we call this an accident, but the fact of the matter is she got in this car under the influence, drove down the road, crashed, and there's not really anything accidental about that.
No.
I mean, it's as predictable as the sun coming up in the
Oh,
morning.
yeah.
The miracle is she lived.
Right.
And you've known that she's been on drugs for a long time, all the way back from high school. And you partied during her childhood.
Yeah, I was a drinker. I've been sober 20 years, so I did my share of, drinking and drugging.
Yeah. And Beth, you've had your trip around the track as well.
I sure have, yeah. It's been a struggle for me.
Right. You had to be her caretaker.
Yes, I did.
And-
I did.
And that was not easy for you because there were a lot of drugs around because she had to have pain meds.
Right.
And-
I dispensed them to her.
Did you relapse?
Oh, yeah, I
during that time?
relapsed. Yes, I did.
Pressure got to you, stress
Oh, yeah,
got to you.
for sure. Yeah, I did. I relapsed.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.